In other ways, the world is changing. Justin Trudeau announced yesterday that he intends to resign as the head of the Liberal Party in Canada, which means that the minute that he is replaced as head of the Liberal Party, that person will then take the prime ministership up until the next election, unless there is a vote of no confidence, which there absolutely 100% should be, considering this doof, if he were to run in the upcoming election, would win about 20% of the vote and lose something like 2/3 to 3/4 of the seats that his party currently holds in the House of Commons in Canada. Here is handsome Bernie Sanders, certainly not Fidel Castro's son. How dare you, even though he looks exactly like Fidel Castro. Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau.
I intend to resign as party leader, as prime minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process. Last night, I asked the president of the Liberal Party to begin that process.
Well, I mean, it's about time. Just a trip down memory lane with Justin Trudeau. The reason that he has to leave is because he's really, really bad at his job. But the final capper on him being bad at his job was the election of Donald Trump, who has declared that Justin Trudeau might be the governor of our 51st state. Well, now that he's leaving, I feel like our window to take Canada is shrinking. Because once Pierre Poilievre is the head of the government in Canada, I feel like at that point, we have an allied government, and also they might resist the invasion. Right now, we'll be greeted as liberators because no one likes Justin Trudeau at all. And in my plan for Greater America, which includes both Canada and Greenland, as well as ownership of the Panama Canal, I feel like the window is closing, guys. We got to move. We got to move fast and move hard. In any case, the reason Justin Trudeau is actually going is because he's quite terrible at his job. And Donald Trump pointed that out. And then because Justin Trudeau can't deal with Donald Trump, his own finance minister, Chrystia Freeland, decided that she was going to walk out on his government. What does his record look like? Well, he has a 73% disapproval rating, including 43% of liberal voters. Chrystia Freeland called out Trudeau's costly political gimmicks in her resignation letter. That was a reference to his $4.5 billion plan to send $175 checks to everybody in the country making less than $105,000 a year. His signature carbon tax has reduced real incomes across the country, according to Barry Weiss over at the Free Press. Canada's record on immigration is insane. They had 1.1 million new immigrants who came to the country in 2022 alone. Many of those people do not exactly share Canada's values, driving up anti-Semitism in the country. Violent crime has skyrocketed under Trudeau's leadership. Homicides rose by more than 50% between 2014 and 2022. There's now more violent crime on a per capita basis in Canada than in the United States, which is insane. You remember the trucker protest. You remember the guise of combating disinformation, where Canada's Online News Act was sold as a way to make social media companies pay news organizations when linking to their content. In reality, it was an attempt to shore up legacy media, the rise of assisted suicide, the rise of drug use, Trudeau's poor judgment. I mean, let's just go through some of Justin Trudeau's greatest hits so we can remember and miss what he once was. It was not long ago that he was shaking it off at a Taylor Swift concert, and one of the least manly men ever to man. Here is a Justin Trudeau to Taylor Swift concert. There he is dancing. Oh my God. He is a sad person. He is such a sad person. He's in the middle of great suffering in Canada, but at least he was shaking it off. And then meanwhile, you'll remember Justin Trudeau going after the Freedom Convoy. The Freedom Convoy, of course, were truckers who decided that they didn't want to lose their job or, be forced to take a vaccine. And Justin Trudeau said that they were a fringe.
Do you have any regrets about calling Ottawa protesters a fringe minority?
Yeah, I wish I had said that differently. As I look back on that and as I've reflected on it over the past months, not just freshly from this commissioner's report, I wish I had phrased it differently. The fact is, there is a very small number of people in this country who deliberately spread misinformation and disinformation that led to Canadians' deaths, that led to excessive hardship in people who believed them. I continue to be very, very firm against those individuals. But that is a small subset of people who were just hurting.
I mean, so he says, even there, he called these people a fringe minority, and then he's like, I regret I said that. Also, they killed a lot of people, and they're a fringe minority. The leadership of moron Justin Trudeau. As social unrest escalates and crime rates climb, securing the safety of your family is more crucial than ever. Now listen, I love the Second Amendment. I own a lot of firearms, like a lot of them. But the idea of using lethal force in my house, maybe not ideal. That's why you need to check out Burna. Introducing the Burna Ungun, the non-lethal self-defense platform. It's lightweight, it's simple to use. It uses an easy-to-load 5-round magazine. It's powered by an 8-gram CO2 cartridge. Burna launchers fire a 68 caliber chemical-filled projectile using patented pull-pierce technology, where the CO2 canister is only punctured on the first trigger pull. That means your launcher is always at the ready. It's capable of incapacitating an attacker for over 30 minutes. It's accurate and effective at over 60 feet. No permits, no background checks. It's interstate travel friendly. With Burna, you will be prepared to defend. The Burna is a safer, more sensible alternative that could potentially save lives on both sides, protecting both user and aggressor. Thanks to Burna for sponsoring this video. And if you haven't yet, go check out our most recent episode of Ben After Dark on Daily Wire Plus, brought to you by our friends over at Burna again. Go check out our friends at Burna. They make a great product, totally worth the buy. Check them out over at Burna. Okay, how about Justin Trudeau on trans policy? Again, this guy was a left-wing dream. I think what we are seeing across the West right now, by the way, is simply a response to reality. It turns out that in rich times, when everybody is fat and happy, you can do a bunch of left-wing policy, and then over the course of about 5-10 years, everything goes to hell in a handbasket, and then you have to turn back to the right. Here's Justin Trudeau on trans policy.
Canadian parents love their kids, and we want the very best for them, and we want them to be kept safe. LGBT youth across this country are among the most vulnerable to homelessness, to suicide, to a range of things that can harm them. We need to be there to defend them. We need to be there to protect them. And I know Canadians across the country are doing just that.
Well, I mean, cutting off the body parts of healthy children doesn't seem like a great way to protect them. I guess the people of Canada might agree with that proposition. The truth is, again, Justin Trudeau came straight out of a sociology lab, truly. And that is why he's wildly unpopular. And that's why his party's going to get shellacked whenever the next election is held. Back in 2018, here he was doing land acknowledgement. I mean, this guy's just a wet dream for the Berkeley Humanities Department.
I would like to begin by recognizing that we are, as we are every day in this House, on the ancestral land of the Algonquin people.
Well, the person who is very likely to replace him as prime minister as soon as an election is held, as I say, is Pierre Poilievre. Incredibly talented. This guy has a resting heart rate of apparently 35. He just never gets agitated. I love this guy. He's great. Here's Pierre Poilievre famously answering questions from a left-wing reporter while eating an apple.
On the topic, I mean, in terms of your sort of strategy currently, you're obviously taking the populist pathway.
What does that mean?
Well, appealing to people's more emotional levels, I would guess. I mean,
What do you mean by that?
certainly you
Give me an
tap very strong ideological language quite frequently.
Like what?
Left wing, this and that, right wing, I mean, it's that type of ideological spectrum.
I never really talk about left
But
or right.
anyways,
I don't really believe in that.
Okay. A lot of people would say that you're simply taking a page out of the Donald Trump book.
Like which people would say that?
Well, I'm sure a great many Canadians, but
Like who?
I don't know who, but...
Well, you're the one who asked the question, so
Yeah.
You must know somebody.
He's the best. That guy. And honestly, I kind of just want him to do all of his press conferences while consuming fruit. I just think that it would make it so much more amusing. Just eating a squash or something. And vegetables would work as well. Because it's just more amusing to answer dumb questions while eating. I think it's hilarious. Are you tired of the lies and the twist of the mainstream media talking points? Yeah, me too. Join me in my newest series, Fact, where I dismantle and bring truth to this tiring mainstream agenda.